So, good morning everyone and welcome to this new session of AxelTech On Air. Welcome to everyone who is following us this morning from Asia, Europe, Africa, and Middle East also, so all of our friends. Hello, good morning and good evening to everyone. I'm here today with Enrico Vaccari. So this will be a sales team only session, let's say. Okay, yeah. We have no people from the technical department today because we are
less technical and more, to explain our concept.
And by the way, my name is Simona Lippi, and of course I'm part of the sales team of AxelTech. So welcome to everyone who is following us today, and thank you, of course. And if you want to join us, we will be very glad to receive your feedbacks. You can open up the chat here in the right, just click on the bell. And please send us your feedbacks, questions, or anything about this session.
The rest of our team is following us, so Stefano is available on the chat and is going to read your questions, and so you can make questions during the presentation. And we also have Gianluca helping us as a technical director.
Of course. So, what are we going to talk about today? We are going to show you and to explain to the ones that maybe are not familiar with this part of our job, our turnkey radio lineup. Okay, so until today we talked about our lineup of products. So we saw our softwares mainly, and also our hardware for the radio parts. So hybrids, processors, of course our Oxygen 3000 console. Today we are going to explain to you and to tell you how we work in order to assemble these items all together and provide you a turnkey solution. Okay.
Perfect.
So, Enrico, let's start. Normally, how we manage this kind of request for our customers? I mean, this could be a very tailor-made solution that we provide here in AxelTech.
Yes, of course. So, what we have right here is just an example of a typical setup for one on-air studio. Mm-hmm. But of course, most of the time we receive requests from our customers to design from scratch a new studio. And so most of the time we make a little interview to understand the technical but also the budget requirement from customers, and we have some predefined template and samples of radio setup, but of course those can be easily customized to match requirement according to customer needs.
Okay, and generally speaking, to whom would you recommend this kind of solution?
Okay, these are, most of the time a setup like this is a plug-and-play solution. Very, very useful for those customers, I would say medium, small size, especially for those that may not have an engineering department able to put things together. And so in that case, we provide our consultancy to set up the entire system. And let's say, respect his needs. So the main target, I would say, are small, medium size, because when, let's say, the setup is much bigger, then of course we go through a different process, and we involve also our, let's say, the rest of the team to customize the solution.
Yeah, well, normally when we receive this kind of request, we may make a lot of questions.
Of course.
And it might seem weird sometimes, but we just do that in order to provide to you a solution that would look like an answer to your needs. That's the only reason.
In the next minute, then you'll understand why we need to make you some question, because the setup is made of several items, and for each items we need to have a few information about how are you going to use the system.
Yeah, that's it. So let's focus on what is normally included in this kind of solution and what we do provide.
Perfect. So here on the desktop we have just 3 examples where the scope is to show how the system can be easily scaled up and to show the ingredient, let me put it like this, of the setup. Of course, we have, as you see, if you can go to the previous screenshot, just to show you an example of solo, duetto, and trio. Those three setups can be distinguished by the numbers of guests, for example, and this is, of course, one of the first questions, and also the technical level of all the ingredients, so how many presenters, the shape and the size of the technical furniture, not only the level of radio automation, a little more advanced or just more basic, as well the console, which is one of the main items of the solution, audio processors and so on, and this gives you a rough idea about the investment that you are going to do.
Of course. And don't forget the furniture. We also provide these items to our
furniture,
customers.
it's a key point. Why? Because as a provider of solution, including the furniture, that is part of the furniture is related to personal taste. So you may like it, or apart the fact that we may offer different kind of stylish of furnitures with different touch and colors. The one you see right here, for example, provide this nice RGB lighting system built in. We sell a lot of them in visual radio, so it's part of the look of the studio.
It's a very nice design and yeah, it looks.
But the advantage of the having the furniture as a part of the system is that we can pre-wire, and everything comes already pre-assembled and pre-wired, and makes the startup of a radio station very, very, very quickly.
Yeah, and of course with well, the current situation, and we are all COVID.
There's an additional advantage because of what we are going through right now, so the COVID situation. And so I would say that 99%, since we also provide schematics, every cable is numbered, so with labels. So I would say that even a non-technician, people without skill, is able to connect and plug the system as if it was, let's say, an IKEA furniture. Me personally, I'm from sales department. I'm not an engineer, but I'll be able to set it up. So
okay, that's always a good guarantee. If we can do that, you can do that. So can we just explain a little bit some of our standards setups? I think that this will help in order to give some idea of what we can provide, and it will be a very, very big range, I would say, of solutions.
Okay, here we start from the here up on the left corner on the screen. Here is I would say the most compact solution, which is just a standalone small on-air setup. As you see, all the items, the main items are there. So the console, there is the very entry-level radio automation. It's called the soundtrack. And one with the presenter, microphone, arms, headphones, near-field monitors. And here, in the back of on the lower part of the furnitures, we can arrange, there are racks to arrange and accommodate all the equipment pre-wired.
Okay. Let me just interrupt you because we have our first question of the day. Hello, Tom. Thank you for your question. Have you a desk for a standard, maybe SEP or stand-up SEP?
But I would say the answer in both cases, if it's a standard or stand-up solution, the answer is yes.
Okay.
Why? Because the furniture, maybe you don't see this right now, but you see here, I would say in the main, here, this setup, which is intended for, in the middle of the screen, which is intended for an operator on this side, on the control side, and a couple of guests on the other side. You see the second desk, I would say the guest side desk, and this can be, the height can be electrically adjusted. So there's a small
accessory
that allows you to easily pull it up or lower and adjust and accommodate electrically the height of the desk, of the table.
Or
And so,
you can also install the higher table in the guest room, maybe.
yes, of course.
All alone.
But yes, so the answer is it can be configured as a stand-up studio where people just stand or on stools, as we're doing right now. And of course, also we have standard setup like
Yes,
the one
like
you
this one.
see on the screen. Of course, those different configuration can be combined all together in case your radio stations needs multiple studios. So one on air, two on air main and backup, and eventually additional production studio for music preparation, music scheduling. So yes,
That's great.
I'll give you additional detail later on.
Yeah. So we can go further with standard setups.
Yeah, so I would say I was starting from the very first one on the upper left corner. And as you see, moving down another, according to also the size of the studio, this is a very important detail, we can accommodate a couple of people right on the same desk. As you see the difference from those on the screen and the one I have in front of me here physically, this comes with a RGB light, while those are much more simple. So if you don't need such details, you can save a little budget in case. So going ahead, we have editing studio as well, or another setup with two guests on the front side. And again, here on the left, on the right column, the difference from the left one is that the radio automation model goes to the higher version, which is called the DJ Pro Classic, instead of soundtrack. So again, radio automation is another important detail because for a standalone solution, the soundtrack is probably the most suitable radio automation. I give you some example, like a small local radio, low power station, community radios. So for those customers, I would recommend soundtrack as an entry-level radio automation. Don't forget that you can eventually scale it up. So if in the next years or month you feel the needs of, needing something much more powerful, you can always upgrade.
Step up to DJ Pro, of course. Okay, so.
But as I said, just consider those as some templates.
Yeah.
And even the quality of every single item can be scaled up. Of course, Axel is the developer of every single product on this setup. So the console is developed 100% in Axel technology. The radio automation, I'm going to switch and I show you here on the desktop. This is the radio automation called DJ Pro Classic, probably one of our best sellers and
definitely.
Historical product, so since the very beginning. And DJ Pro radio automation is developed 100% in the house, so it belongs to Axel. If we move to the other side, another very, I would say, important item, equipment of the audio chain is the audio processor.
Of course.
And what you see, I'm going to show you here on the desktop. I would say I need to run the browser because we have it on the other screen, but never mind. Be patient for a second. Here we are. And now you see the new user interface of our latest Falcon X series, which is a very modern audio processor. The key point for this nice compact setup is that this can be used for a station that broadcasts over FM, DAB, web, HD radio, satellite, whatever. So this setup is, let's say, it's perfect. It's suitable for any kind of radio station. Doesn't matter where is where the final output goes. So, and the audio processor can adapt, can be used according to the different. If it's streaming, if it's FM or DAB, So the processing can be adjusted to the traditional 15 kilohertz for FM, but as well the complete bandwidth 20 kilohertz for FM or for DAB or HD radio or web.
Okay, great. So let's move a little backwards, since you mentioned the console. Of course, in this kind of setup, and generally speaking, we suggest to go digital with our Oxygen 3000, but we can provide, you mentioned, I don't know, little radios company that are just starting, and maybe they want to start with less training. That might happen also.
Okay.
So we can provide also different solutions.
Yeah, sure. So I would say this is the Oxygen. Talking about the digital console, first of all, the entire setup here is already digital.
Of
so
course.
it's fully digital, both in terms of the technology, so the audio is treated by DSP, and on the other hand, also the wiring. So from the source from the radio automation to the digital audio processor, the entire audio chain, it's AES, ABU. Of course, this console allows you to accept, to connect analog device, of course. And I would say in terms of audio routing, the console is the core of the integration. And this console is extremely, let's say, interesting because it provides you up to 5 microphones. And I would say it fits the 90% of the target we're talking about.
Of course.
So up to 5 microphones. Eventually with a nice accessory, it's a talk box. You see here on the screen, I would say, maybe with the next slide, we can move ahead to the audio console. And that's just to show them our friend, all the accessories. So the digital audio console features 5 microphones, not only a nice Bluetooth. So nowadays, most of the time, we receive incoming calls not only through the telephone lines, as always, and as well a telephone hybrid is already built in, but in addition to that we have a Bluetooth, so I can connect my, it's not like with me, but my mobile phone or any tablet to talk, to insert incoming calls from WhatsApp, Skype, and all the applications available on your mobile.
Of
Correct. Not only, we have also USB in and out, so the computer, the radio automation can be connected via USB, and you can save the cost of audio cards. And this is also extremely interesting because in case of, you need to replace the hardware, a computer can always, may have issues.
Yeah, of course.
And in that case, you can replace the hardware without the need of, oh, I forgot the audio cards, I need to install hardware on it, on that. What else? A lot of in and out, additional balance and balance, so you can connect any kind of device. And as well, there's just the only option on this console is the Dante I/O input, so audio over IP. And eventually, for those that need to scale it up and move to something more IP than audio,
there's an option that we can also provide.
Not only it provides this on this setup. Now you see 3 screens. Maybe in some setup, in some radio station, you don't have enough space to accommodate all those screens. But here the idea is also to show you the nice HDMI output of the audio consoles. So this can be also used as a time display for guests and presenters. Maybe you can turn on the other side.
Of course.
And this allows you to have the entire, the surveillance and the control of what goes on air.
And one of the questions that we often receive from the customers is how many people do a radio actually need in order to go on air with this kind of solution, and how well trained they need to be?
Okay, I would say one man can do it all.
Okay.
And eventually you can add guest, presenter, talents, depending on, on your radio format. In terms of training, I would say the entry-level solution, starting with soundtrack, a console, the benefit of this digital audio console is that it's digital, but from the user point of view, it's exactly the same operativity, the same operation you are familiar with. So it's a traditional, the surface replicate a traditional analog console. And everything is very easy to use. So the answer is, I would say that the most simple, the very first layout, there's no need of training. So we can just prepare the system, deliver, and you can plug and play.
That's great.
Shortly. I would say in 4 hours, then the system can be assembled and ready to go on air.
Okay, and of course, currently we can also provide a remote training, so
yes, sure.
It's not going to be an issue anyway.
Especially in the latest times, since the beginning of the year, the majority...
we are already providing this kind of service a lot. So we have another question from Mark. Thank you, Mark. Do you provide studio isolation panels as well?
Yes, sure. Probably we have one of the very first pictures at the beginning of the presentation. Sorry, be patient. We go back with the presentation. Right here. This is just an example, but as you see here on the wall, those are all acoustic panels, and we have different models and different configuration. And those are, they provide two kind of, let's say, benefits. One is, of course, the acoustical, and the second one is a little stylish. Those are all RGB.
Lights?
RGB lights, those LED strips on the wall. I don't know, maybe we can send eventually, if you can write us at the end
Mark,
of the
please,
presentation.
if you can send us an email to sales@axeltechnology.com, we can send you some samples and pictures of previous installations that we made all over the world. Okay.
We just finalized a very nice setup with acoustic panels in Ghana.
Okay.
I would say last week, and it's something very nice because it's a visual radio, not only radio. So also the aspect, how it looks like, it's very important because it goes on video, and I think you can appreciate a different configuration of acoustic panels.
Great. And since you just mentioned it, this could be the perfect setup for a visual radio. Do they have to do visual radio straight away, or can maybe they start with this kind of setup and then they take fun with this, and then what can happen?
Okay, let's say today we are talking mainly about a radio turnkey, and so a turnkey radio, as I said, it's very easy to set it up and make it work. TV can be added at any time. A visual radio, which means video follows audio. So whatever you put on air in radio goes also on TV, and it's an add-on. We already provide webinars a few weeks ago. You can find eventually a video on our YouTube channel, and where we explain how to add. It's an add-on, how to add the visual part of a system on top of a radio, an existing radio. Of course, a visual setup involves studio lighting, studio decorations, cameras. We still have one camera here on top of our microphone.
Oh yeah.
This one.
Okay.
So visual is something you can always add, but of course it needs a little more
in
expertise.
Further steps.
Yeah, further steps.
Perfect. So since we are both sales people, let's talk about budget just a little bit, just to give them an idea of the range.
Okay.
So we start at?
Well, I would say that a turnkey solution that includes, as we said, console, radio automation, digital audio processor, speakers, a microphone. Look, if you can follow me on the screen, one microphone, the table, this one, a soundtrack radio automation, Oxygen 3000, which is exactly the console I have in front of me, a Falcon X5 with RDS encoders built in, software and updating services per 1 year, we're talking about 12,000 euro. This is end user. Of course, there's some shipment and those little detail depends on where you live and where you are in the world. But this gives you an idea. Of course, this is just to give you a figure, because it can be even scaled down. I mean, we can start with something very, very simple without the furniture, maybe just a rack with a bunch of cables. And I would say that something around 8,000 euro can already be provided. And again, including some entry-level speakers, microphone. The range, of course, we do not manufacture microphones, speakers, and screens. Today, we are talking about turnkey solutions, so you don't have to care about any additional device, because everything comes together. And but as I said, we can start around this budget for a turnkey solution, and then we can move up,
or
combining more studios, of course.
Also sometimes if we are talking about some update, so if we are talking about a radio that is already working,
of course,
we could also ask you what are you already using, and then we can adjust in order to reduce a little bit.
For example, if the radio is already on air and just need to move to a new location or renew the studio, and the speakers, loudspeakers are already available, or microphone, we will be glad to take advantage of them, and you save a budget, of course.
Okay, so if you have any further questions, please just write to us.
I would go ahead eventually talking about after-sales services and just showing to our friends going ahead with the presentation.
Sure.
Axel also provides after-sales services. That means that you can call our support department at any time during the daily hour from Monday to Friday. And we will be glad to assist you for any needs. Then we go back to the previous slideshow. Not only, the advantage of subscribing our services is that we keep developing our software and solution, and we can already included with this service. If you subscribe the service, we deliver. You can get for free updates and the latest version and latest development. So I really recommend to do that, especially the very beginning, because the startup of a radio station is the time where you mostly need our support and help. You know, it's during the startup. And so both for configuration or little detail
adjustments,
tips and helps. So it's really a very big added value. So on this screen, why? Because going up with a little more developed and complex configuration, then we can add a technical room. So with the racks. So if you have let's say the dedicated room for technical equipment with air conditioning, with UPS, we can accommodate eventually everything on a rack, on a nice rack, maybe with the transmitters and so on. What else? We do have logging, so an additional items can be the needs of recording 24/7 whatever is transmitted on air for multiple purposes. Advertisement certification, not only, maybe sometimes the customers doesn't pay you for the advertisement, and you can prove them that ads
they
has
went
been
on air.
Correct. Not only, also some little technical items like a silence detector and studio changeover. So in a scenario where you have multiple studio and one is on fault or you need to do maintenance, you can always switch from one studio to the other, both manually or automatically, even when a radio station is unattended. Because keep in mind that this setup is intended to do live shows with live assist and presenters, but it can work perfectly in unattended mode, automatically, yes, with the radio automation.
Great. So if there are no further questions, I would say. So thank you all for being with us today.
Yeah, remember our email, which is
of course, which is sales@axeltechnology.com, or if you are already in touch with my colleague Ilaria Malucelli or with Cristiano Cinelli if you are watching us from Italy, or of course with me or Enrico. Thank you again. It was very nice being with you today. Thank you. So hopefully we will be again. We will be again here again this afternoon for the French session.
Yep.
Okay. And of course, if you like this video, just put a thumb up for us. Okay. And thank you again to everyone.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.